Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Ghost. When we left off, they were really feeling like a team. Ghost has got himself down to a routine. They even have an incident where they stood up for each other, which was wonderful. They proved how much they care about each other, and everything started feeling like normal. That is until Uniform Day changed everything. And that's where we're going to start, middle of chapter 9. But Uniform Day changed everything. Uniform Day was the day when Coach was going to give us our jerseys and shorts. He had been talking about this for 2 weeks, going on and on about how Uniform Day was important because it meant you were officially on the team. It was the last piece to the puzzle. And I wanted that piece. I mean, I had traded running in my jeans for a pair of cutoff scrubs I got from my mom, but that was like running in a pair of drawers. And when I got to sweating, man, straight up gross. So a uniform sounded amazing. An actual uniform, just like basketball teams, except for a track team. Yes. Coach showed up at practice carrying the box. He dropped it off at the track in front of us as we bent and stretched, getting ready for the usual Technique Tuesday routine work. I was going to practice coming off the blocks because it was where I needed the most help. It felt weird to not just stand up straight and run when I heard the whistle, but to bend down and press my feet against the metal, that was way weird. Bring it in, Coach said. As you all know, our very first meet of the season is this Saturday. You worked hard these past few weeks, and I'm proud of you. So to get you excited about smoking everybody this weekend, I'm going to give out this year's Defenders uniforms. We clapped it up as Coach folded the cardboard flaps of the box back. When I call your name, come get your uniform and go put it with your stuff. Then give me some warm-up laps, he said. Then one by one, he called out each runner forward. I was standing next to Lou when Coach called his name. I gave him a way-to-go nudge. He grabbed his gear and then jogged back and gave me 5. The jersey, which he held up, was electric blue, with gold letters across the front, Defenders. Underneath the word was a picture of a fist clenching a wing. It would go perfect with the other silver bullets. I liked it. No, I loved it. Sweet, Lou sang out. Man, I said, not really believing how good it looked. Coach called out name after name. Outlaw, Speed, Lancaster, Farrer, Bullock, Fulmer, McNair. And after every name he'd say, I'd say to myself, waiting, Cranshaw, Cranshaw, Cranshaw. And then he'd say Tate. Cranshaw? No, Hayes. Cranshaw? But Coach went on and on until he got to the last uniform. My uniform. But he never called my name. And that's it, Coach said. That's it? I knew my eyes were bugging. That's it? Everybody was checking their jerseys out, putting them in their gym bags or jogging around the track, but I was still waiting. What about me? I asked. I didn't understand what was going on. Where were my shorts, my jersey? Where is my uniform? Oh, Coach said, as if suddenly remembering he had left me out. But how could he have left me out? I had proven myself. I was pretty much the best sprinter on the team, or at least one of them. Whatever. It didn't matter, I thought, because I had reminded him. Oh, right. I do have something for you, Ghost, Coach said, digging back in the box. When he pulled his hand from the brown cardboard, he wasn't holding any electric blue dopeness. No, instead he was holding a piece of paper folded into a small square. What's this? I asked. Oh, unfold it and see, Coach said, his face changing, falling into a familiar look of disappointment, the way Principal Marshall's face does whenever I had an altercation. I unfolded it as quickly as I could because what I found on that piece of paper was the most shocking thing ever. It was a picture of me, dashing from the sports store, a close-up of my face, and underneath it, in big red, bold letters, was the word shoplifter. I looked up at Coach. My tongue had suddenly turned into a stone in my mouth. I couldn't breathe, like I had just finished running ladders, like I was going to gack up every sunflower seed I had ever eaten ever. And if there was ever a sunflower growing in me, it was definitely dying right there. I went to go pick up the uniforms at the sporting goods store, and guess whose photo was taped to the window? I didn't say nothing. I couldn't. Guess, Coach insisted, forcing me to say it, but I just couldn't. He snatched the paper back, ripped it into confetti. That's your uniform, Coach said, holding his hand open so I could see the white confetti. And since you can't wear this, he turned his hand over and let the paper fall to the ground like awkward snowflakes. You can't run. So take your silver shoes and have a seat. Wait, Coach, sit, he shouted, pointing at the wooden bench. Everybody looked at me as I started walking, but they weren't laughing. Instead, they just seemed shocked and concerned, which was probably the only reason I didn't take off running away from the track, off to the basketball courts or Mr. Charles or anybody else, any place else. Instead, I did as Coach asked, and I sat down. And for the rest of you, mind your own business, Coach warned the team. If I hear about this, anything about this, you will give your uniform back. Am I clear? The team shook about the prospect of having to hand over that sweet New Jersey, just grumbled and started warm-up laps. I stayed there, right there on the bench, the whole practice. And Coach never once even looked over at me, not even to check to see if I was still there. It was like he didn't care. As a matter of fact, I could have gotten up and left, but that seemed like a bad idea because I felt like if I left now, I would never be able to come back. And my life on the track team would be over for good. So I just sat it out and hoped for the best. But I didn't know what the best could even be. I had been caught. Didn't really think about what would happen. And even though I had already told Coach that the shoes were a gift from my mom, I still had to tell my mom how I got them at some point. And I'd planned on telling her that Coach got them for me. And then I would hope and pray that she never thanked Coach for that. Well, think about it now. That was the stupidest idea ever. Wow. Anyway, to the point, I wasn't a thief. And I guess I wasn't a criminal. I'd never swiped nothing before. I was just a dude who needed some shoes to run in. And after practice, everyone came over to me, doing the best they could to hold their words in, but sending me a, "What did you do?" look with their eyes. They even gave me 5 as they left, and it was like they were giving me a final 5. The one that said, "We don't know what's about to happen to you, but just hold your head up." The one just before I'd have to walk the plank. "Let's go," Coach threw at me once everybody had left. His words knocked against my chest like knuckles, like a two-piece. "Let's go." I grabbed my bag and I followed him to the car. As I opened the back door, he said, "Up here," delivering 2 more to the ribs. He threw everything in the back seat as normal and opened a passenger side door. I closed the back door and got up front. And as we rode through the city, neither of us said a thing. Coach didn't look over at me or nothing. He just bit down on his bottom lip, and occasionally he would shake his head like he was picturing the picture of me in that store over and over again. I thought about trying to explain myself, but what in the world was I going to say? That I didn't steal them? Because I did. So I just sat there with my legs becoming wooden with fear. When we pulled up into the front of my place, Coach cut the car off and opened his door. "Where are you going?" I asked, because he never got out of the car except for the time he had to ask my mom if I could go to the newbie dinner. But that was weeks ago. The routine was he pulled up in front, dropped me off, waited for me to get inside, then pulled off, but he never ever got out of the car. "Where do you think I'm going, Ghost?" "I'm going to tell your mother what you did." Oh, no. I fumbled at the handle, trying to get the door open and scrambled. "Coach, please, no, please," I begged. I ran around and got in front of him, holding my hands up as if I was trying to use some sort of magic force to push him back. "Oh, man, I'm sounding like Sonny, but hey, please, please, please," I pleaded, but Coach pushed past me. He was storming towards my house, and there was nothing I could do to stop him. I grabbed his shirt. "Coach!" He spun around, and a tattoo I never noticed before peeked out of the now stretched out neckline. "Ghost," he said, his eyes closed. "I'm only going to tell you this one time. Let me go." His voice was flat, hard, and scary. I let his shirt go, and I put my hands together. "Please, Coach, you cannot tell my mother." It was like a rerun of the first time Coach bailout, where he came and picked me up from school, and I said pretty much those exact words. And here I was again, asking him not to snitch on me. And it's not that I was scared of being punished or getting into trouble with my mom. I was, but that's not why I was begging. I just didn't want to add to the problems. I am her only child. I am the reason she is working so hard. And I went out and I did something stupid. But the reason I did something stupid was because I know I couldn't ask her for the money. And the reason I couldn't ask her is because she would have given me the shoes that I wanted. She would have gotten anything for me. She would have. She would have done anything to get them. I knew that. And I just didn't want her to have to give up something again, something else for me to just have stupid shoes. And now because I stole them, she would be disappointed. And I would feel more guilty. And she would think she's a bad mom. And I couldn't let Coach tell her that. I didn't have the time. So I fell to my knees and I put my hands together and I begged, "Coach, please." And we'll stop there.